What's up, fight fans? Welcome to Mr. Mustache MMA News, and today I want to discuss UFC 285's main event between Jon Jones and Ciryl Gane for the UFC vacant heavyweight belt. But guys, before we get into it, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to continue getting more MMA content by yours truly. All right, guys, getting right into it. Jon Jones is going to be making his official UFC heavyweight debut for the vacant belt against former interim champion Ciryl Gane. Francis Ngannou, the whole drama with that in the UFC, he has now departed the UFC. They have granted his release, so he has left the belt vacant. He's going to go off and do his own thing. I'm going to make a separate video on that. So now we have Jon Jones finally making his comeback at heavyweight. He hasn't fought in about 3 years since he defended his light heavyweight belt against Dominic Reyes in a very close split decision victory. I personally thought he won rounds 3, 4, and 5. He definitely lost the first 2 rounds, but he was able to mix it up and kind of get to the wrestling and kind of use that to dominate the dominator Dominic Reyes for the rest of that fight. But since then, he hasn't fought 3 years. He took that time off. He said he wanted to build the weight, make sure that he can use the weight, and just be natural as a heavyweight, and just kind of get the bulk so he can go against these 265-pound savages, right? And he was definitely aiming for a guy like Stipe. He was aiming for Francis Ngannou. So he was definitely looking to bulk up, be the bigger guy. He's already a naturally big dude, 6'5", 6'6", probably walks around at 230. So he probably walks around as a heavyweight. But you can tell he definitely wanted to get his weight up probably to about 250, 265, just so he can get that power up there and just be able to hold that weight and see if he can hold that long term. I'm sure he wanted to train and do all that stuff to see how he can handle that. So he took the 3 years off, and I think this fight against Ciryl Gane, I love it because you have two guys where their biggest tool set is their ability to control the distance. They're both very long guys. They are able to use their teep kicks, front kicks to keep guys at bay and kind of fight their own fight and just stay at their own distance and stay safe, constantly moving. They're always on their bikes. But I think the difference here is Jon Jones, his ability to close that gap, his ability with his wrestling. I think the way that Francis Ngannou, the way that he was able to handle Ciryl Gane, I think Jon Jones, if he's able to pull the trigger and if he's able to get in there early, I think that it's going to be a very long night for Ciryl Gane. Ciryl definitely has the striking advantage when it comes to the dynamic strikes that he's able to provide. But Jon Jones, I just think that him going up in this weight class, his experience, all the people he's fought in the time, I mean, he's just dominated every single guy that they put in front of him. Yeah, he had a little bit of some shaky fights against Thiago Santos and Dominic Reyes, but he went out there and he beat those guys. He outclassed those guys. And he's been able to make it his fight each and every fight. And I think what he's going to do this fight, he's going to close the gap. He's going to get Ciryl Gane down. He's probably going to try and sub him. That's going to be my prediction, like a second, maybe third round submission. I just don't think Ciryl Gane's ground ability, yeah, he does have some submissions in his past, but they weren't against guys on Jon Jones' level. Jon Jones literally is, I mean, if you have a Mount Rushmore, he's on there. When it comes to like open weight, like he is on that Mount Rushmore. You could say what do you want about his fucking personal life. As a fighter, as an MMA fighter, as a cage fighter, Jon Jones is probably the greatest of all time. And it just, if it wasn't for all of his personal shit, there would be no question and nobody would doubt it in any way, shape, or form. He's been able to take huge chunks of time off, sometimes not at his choice, but other times he has taken some time off. And he comes back and just beats everybody. I mean, when he went through all those suspensions and he came back and beat DC, and then he got suspended again and came back and beat Gustafsson, and then he just was able to beat Santos. And then he beat Dominic Reyes. He's like, all right, I kind of wiped out the light heavyweight division. I'm just going to back off for a little while. And he did, and I think this is the right move to make. This was the only move to make for Jon Jones, for him to extend his legacy, to create really no doubt and to separate him from the rest of the pack when it comes to being an all-time great as an MMA fighter. But moving on to Ciryl Gane here, he definitely could surprise us. He has the power. He showed that against Tai Tuivasa. He showed that against Derek Lewis. Because a lot of times he was just outpointing these guys and kind of fighting very safe fights, just toying with his food. He made it look so easy. He was doing that against Francis until Francis was able to actually get a hold of him. It's like, fuck this shit. So if Ciryl is able to pick his shots right, keep Jon off of him, use utilize some takedown defense, if he's able to keep Jon Jones off of him, he could have a lot of good success, and he may early on. Jon Jones may struggle early on, but once Jon finds his mark and finds his distance, I really just don't see Ciryl matching him. But who knows? I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I've heard that Jon Jones, I don't know if it was recent, but there was a report that came out that he got dropped with a body shot in sparring, and it created this whole thing over at his gym. But I don't know if that was like a recent story or if that was like an old story that they were telling now. But I can't wait to see what's going to happen moving forward. I think the implications for this fight is huge. I think it's a huge bummer that this isn't Jon Jones versus Francis. I know Stipe even made a tweet after this came announced that he would take the winner in July, that he would be ready in July. I think that'll be very interesting. Stipe kind of sitting back in the corner. He is aging a bit, so that kind of makes me worry a little bit about him, but I think that'll be a really good fight for him to go against the winner of this matchup. Sorry, little scramble brain here, guys. This shit just gets me so excited. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comment section. If you guys think Jon Jones is the greatest, if he's going to prove to continue being the greatest, or if you guys think that Ciryl Gane just might be too much for him. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section. Guys, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to continue getting more MMA content by yours truly. All right, guys, Mr. Mustache, MMA News, out. Let's fucking go, fight fans.